Welcome to the White Rock Enduro. Liam is here with me. This is my first time to this event. You can see the moto van is in shambles, but we got the Sherco ready to go, baby. I think it's 69 miles, so I'm glad to see that they're keeping endurance in Enduro. There are a lot of transfers, but that does not bother me. I'm totally fine with transfers. Again, I want endurance, I want attrition. So we're gonna see how this goes. Hopefully the unknown and unknowable are a challenge, but I don't have to pick myself up too much from the ground, but we shall see. We start in that hill. Let's get into it. 8-mile transfer to get going, baby. I was like, oh crap, what's going on with my GoPro? What we are doing here today is we're gonna talk through the race and everything that went on. Dylan was cool enough to let me use his footage, so we are gonna make this video together to put out on the Seat Time video channel to kind of document the race. So it's a little bit of me and it's a little bit of Dylan, and we're just gonna see how this mixes up. Dylan, you're a AA from Colorado. So Colorado all the way to Arkansas is quite the trek. Like, what brought you to the White Rock Enduro?
So I just wanted to do a little different. I've been racing the RMEC for 2 or 3 years, and not so much that I was burnt out, but I just wanted to try a different series. So me and a buddy, we leave our bikes at his parents in Oklahoma, and we fly in and get a rental truck, drive to the race, drive back, fly home.
Just right off the cuff, overall, what were your thoughts of the White Rock Enduro?
I think I might have used the wrong tire because it was a lot slicker than I had imagined. I was just sliding all over the place, but I like it. It's tight, technical, tons of moisture. It's a fun course.
To your point about how slick it was, like, the roads were dusty, you know what I mean? But for some reason, every trail, it felt like held tons of moisture, and so the rocks were slicker than all get out. Hoping to get a video at the start, but I didn't. I was mucking about with the GoPro, and this fine young gentleman got a chance to see me pinball my ass to the ground. Yep, so hopefully it's out of the way, but if not, he says I can go in front of him. So if it happens again, he's just gonna have prime time footage of me hitting the deck. It's gonna be a good time getting seat time. It was funny because we're going into test 1, and I think it was Dale Rector who was behind us as we were getting ready. We were getting closer and stuff like that coming up. They were on row 29 behind us, but he was just like, yeah, if this is the test from last year, like, it's scary fast. And I was like, oh crap. So I have to ask, like, did you think it was scary fast? Because I thought it was scary fast.
Yes, well, especially too, from that last race, I haven't really touched my suspension, so it was real stiff. And up that first trail, it being super rocky, I was bouncing all over the place and just trying to keep it rubber side down. So yeah, that was sketchy. And I kept slowing down because I was, getting kind of scared and getting all over the place. But I'm like, well, if I want to do well, I need to really push it. So
then they get us to the top of this section. It is like tightest trail of the weekend because it had zero flow, like none.
Yeah, going from, third, fourth gear, maybe 40, 50 miles an hour in some spots, to going around a corner and you're going 4 miles an hour, like full lock. I mean, it took a minute to get used to that.
Holy crap, that was a sketchy fast test into some of the tightest crap up at the top. We were just weaving. But man, I love the technicality of this race. This is what an Enduro is supposed to be like. If you have not done the White Rock Enduro, make sure you put it on your calendar. I thought this was tight, like legitimately still a tight section, but I thought it had just enough flow to it that it was actually like a fun tight section, where the one before that, in test 1, was like, oh my God, is this really what we've signed up for all day? And it was only 3 miles long, so it was like, okay, like I can handle this for 3 miles.
Yeah, that was a good break to have a little shorter one. And after we got warmed up in the first test, it felt easier.
And this is another one. I think we kind of fell into the same thing where I caught you once it got into the tighter stuff, and you let me by. And then I think again we finished with just a handful of seconds between us there when we came through at the end of test 2. But that's the thing, is I'm trying to think about test 2. Like, did anything stand out? And honestly, like, we'll get to test 3, but test 2 and test 3 I think were just so fun that it was kind of like, I don't really remember much. That second test was super cool. It was like 3 miles long, but it was super tight-ish. It was not as tight as the first test that we went through. So it was just had a little bit more flow. It didn't have flow, had a little bit more flow than what we had in the first test, which had zero flow whatsoever. So we're about to go into test number 3, which is gonna put us towards the gas. We've got like 4 more miles in this test. This has been a lot of fun. Like, this is an enduro. It's awesome. Test 3, which was 4 miles long, might have been one of the more fun tests of the day. And I think it's because it was just short enough, just like the 3 mile test, where it was just short enough that we could kind of push ourselves. But this is the first time where I really got a chance to see Brandon and Dale Rector from behind pass us. And that's when my jaw was on the ground. Because the other times they passed us, I feel like I was just still struggling in the tight stuff. I hadn't totally found a groove yet or anything like that. But then when we got into test 4, because it opened up a little bit and we were kind of going down some of those loose canyons, when they came by me, it was like, oh my God. Like, not only did their bikes seem like they were ricocheting off of everything. So again, it's like if they had a semblance of control, I don't know that they felt it. But then the second that they would touch the ground, I mean, you could just, they were just, I mean, it was an on or off switch for those guys, at least from my perspective. And like, unfortunately, they were passing you too. So what was that like getting passed by those guys?
Well, yeah, I figured they'd be coming like, I don't know, maybe a little after halfway, 3/4 of the test. I'd expect them. And then, yeah, like you said, I could see them bouncing off everything because it was slick too, but they just, maybe they're used to it. I don't know. But it didn't seem to slow them down. They just comfortably slid around everything.
And I was talking with John Scholemeyer a little bit about, just about our experience at White Rock Enduro. And I believe he was telling me that Dale Rector is like a multi-time blackjack champion. So again,
okay, that
it
makes
makes
me feel better.
so much sense now that it's like multi-time blackjack champion. If that is his terrain, like, it makes so much sense. And especially for him to be pulled by a AA, racer of today, right? It just looked like those guys were having so much fun, like going super fast. So the dude asking about the 3-liter bladder, keeping that in the utility can caddy. I think that's an option, but that's just too much for me. So what I did is I found these like liter bottles that I can use, and that way I can carry this. You can have just water, you can have highly octanated carbohydrates and elements if you want. Man, put it in there, put it back in the caddy, put it on the gas trailer, and boom, you got all the shit you want with you right there at the gas stop. So when you and I got to test 5, which was where we were going to go to our A only, we pulled up and we were behind row 29. But neither you nor I had gotten passed in the test by row 29. And so we were kind of like, we literally had that weird moment where we looked at them, then you and I looked at each other, and then we looked back at them, and they were like, we were like, wait, how did you, like, and they literally, Brandon goes, we didn't pass you. We were like, you didn't pass us. We were like, oh shit, what happened?
Well, yeah, on that one corner, just the way that the trail naturally flowed, it flowed straight. But when I went through there, I didn't see the arrow, or I'd seen it, but I didn't, I guess, notice the direction of it. And I just was looking for the way the trail flowed, so I just kept going straight. There was no ribbon. And then when I started riding like, 50, 100 feet, I seen 1 or 2 tire tracks. And I'm like, something's kind of weird. Kept riding for a few seconds, and then I turned around, and then that's when I seen you guys out in the field. So that's when I cut back. I think maybe 1 or 2 guys before me cut the ribbon, not on purpose, obviously, but yeah. So I'm thinking a lot of people took that shortcut.
5, the A only test. Holy shit.
Yeah, that one I screwed up. I think I got in not even a minute, and then like right where we crossed the creek, I got way turned around, and I took some hard enduro lines thinking I'd just, tough it out, and then I was kind of lost for a minute. I seen you drive by, then I had to get back around. So yeah, that cost me easily a minute there.
I think the most fun of that test for me was after we were back on the side where we were going to check out, right? We started on one side of the road, we rode the section, crossed the road, and then took the left and rode back to where we checked out. And even it was the most technical. Like, it was the hardest part for me, but it was the most fun. And I think it's because it was so technical and so challenging. It just like quickly continued to undulate, right? In the elevation, the rocks were slicker than shit. You were taking hard lefts, hard rights. Like, again, that's one of those sections where I'm like, if this is supposed to be easier when it's wet, I don't know what I'm doing wrong in life, because I would be scared shitless if it was raining and I had to go into that A only test knowing that last like 3/4 of a mile or mile was ahead of me. But that was another one of those where it was like a super fun test. I felt like this was a longer version of test 4.
Yeah, that was a fun one too. That was probably, test 6 and 7 were my favorite of the day. It just felt like it kept getting better.
What was fun about that, though, even though I screwed up, is I was like, okay, that's my go catch Dylan. Do you know what I mean? Like, you then became the carrot on the stick for me, because I was like, I was keeping your pace, and in the long run, I was like, I thought about it a couple times. I was like, could I go faster? But there's always that, you know what I mean? Like, I know that you're pulling me to some degree, right? And if I passed you, there might be a couple chances where I'd do the same, but it's like, I didn't want to then hold you up either. You know what I mean? But so when that happened, I was like, all right, catch his ass. If nothing else, catch him. I was like, okay. So I got you. And then, of course, Dale and Brandon come by. So as I'm now kind of like a little bit further back getting dropped by you, they come by, and I'm just like, F this. And I'm trying to hang on to Dale. I catch a vine, and it just like totally rips me off the bike, and I just yard sail it into the woods. And I was like, this is what I get. This is what I get for trying to push it. This is what I get. So we got to test 7, which was the longest one of the day. I think before this we were at 6.5 miles, and now we're at 7 miles. Again, I was happy with the way that I rode in this test. I think I made a couple dumb mistakes, and unfortunately I had one right in front of you, right as we get to the grass track. Everybody blew the ribbon and the turn and was just swinging wide, which is the direction you went, because you were lucky enough to watch me go down.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna hit you. I was kind of scared there for a second. I was right behind you. I started at the last minute and took down the ribbon.
It was because of the fact that, like, where I passed you, I think you made a mistake or something like that, and I passed you, and it was still kind of like technical, you know what I mean? So it like made sense for me to kind of like stay there. But I think with the 450 and us getting onto some of those grass tracks and stuff like that, and some of those more open sections, that's where in the long run it's probably for the better that you got in front of me. It does suck that I lost 10-15 seconds pulling myself off the ground.
Yeah, in that test I feel like there was a lot of back and forth, because I think I messed up, then you got around me, then you messed up, I got around you, and then I think Brandon passed me, then he messed up, I went around him, I messed up, he passed me, you passed me. Yeah, it was a lot of back and forth in that test. It was fun.
Yeah, we were all getting tired. That's what it was. We were all just like pushing it to get done, but also kind of making mistakes, you know what I mean? I appreciate you taking the time to talk through our adventure, because I mean, we were literally there together, bike lengths apart at times, in the woods of Arkansas for the White Rock Enduro. Like, overall, am I too much to handle? Like, when you're on a row with me, I've heard negative things before.
No, not too much to handle. Almost.
Perfect.
But not quite.
Almost. It's like pushing the edge. I stand by what I said in the video. The White Rock Enduro is an event that you should put on your calendar. It's extremely challenging, very technical, and you can tell that everybody's excited to work on some of the mistakes that happen. But it's life. Mistakes happen. With feedback is how we get better. It's the only reason that I share some of the things that I shared in this video. Speaking of the video, what did you think? The GoPro crapped out. Dylan had a GoPro. I feel like the way that we collaborated was pretty awesome. So if you're watching this video, go listen to the podcast, because there's a ton more info. And if you've listened to the podcast, go watch the video, because again, there's a lot more content that I think you guys are gonna enjoy in that. So thank you guys for watching this video. Of course, always want your feedback.
there's going to be a lot more racing going on. I put up a Q1 report of everything that's happened so far on Instagram, so go check that out if you haven't. Remember, you can support Seat Time with the new Keep Endurance and Enduro shirt. If you want to get yourself a utility can caddy, please do so at shop.seattime.co. The Shirko is ready for the Cajun Classic. We're getting ready to go race and enjoy getting some seat time. If we don't get a chance to see you on the trail, at least we'll see you here on the internet. You enjoy getting seat time, and we'll see you for the next one. Peace.
Oh, man.